After so many years, hounded by hatred and trapped by fear, I'm in a box. I've got no place to go. If I follow my mind, I know I'll slaughter my own.
You got N.E.P.P.C pamphlet on
For
you.
me, I'm the prisoner.
Well, they should be too.
Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black days in you, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman, keeps beauty down. Smacked on the ass with their sprawling and wet. Yeah, to us mindless man who never forgets, never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
Greetings. Welcome to the Northeast Political Prisoner Coalition Podcast, N.E.P.P.C podcast. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with my brother.
Abdul Haq Islam.
This edition, or this episode rather, we talk about Martyr Month. October's Martyr Month. We have very significant martyrs who we recognize. We recognize their history. We recognize their contribution to their nation, to humanity. People like Maurice Bishop, people like Che Guevara, people like Thomas Sankara. right? And we say that as we recognize these martyrs, it's important that we practice what they carried out. In the same mention of our martyrs, we recognize our political prisoners, because our political prisoners, we want to bring them home before they become martyrs. They put their lives on the front line, and they made a decision about doing the work, and they made it clear that that regardless of what the consequences were going to be, that they were going to be out there fighting for their people, because they recognize that there's a problem, and they recognize that once you identify a problem, you have to be honest with yourself about the solution. And if you see yourself as part of the solution, then you're going to do something about it. So this episode, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what we need to do when we talk about recognizing our political prisoners. Brother Abdul Haq.
Peace and love out there, brothers and sisters. Today is October 20th. This is the day that Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated, through the connivance, the tactics of the West. And October 20th. This is like I say, the day that the month that we commemorate our martyrs, and our martyrs are very, very important to us in terms of our thinking, in terms of us loving the beautiful values that they lived by, the morals, their ideas, the issues they took up, their character. That these are things that we love. You understand? And we value, and these are the same characteristics in our political prisoners. So we talk about our martyrs in the context of talking about our political prisoners, so that our people will realize the tremendous crime that our enemy has committed in stealing our political prisoners from us. And some of the people who have sacrificed and fought for us through these years here in the hells of North America, have been assassinated, have become martyrs. So it is the job of revolutionaries to make sure that the blood of our martyrs rises up as a fire, as a weapon to attack and destroy our enemy. We think about our martyrs being murdered, by the enemy. This should put a new energy in us to fight, to resist. Okay, like I started out saying, this is the day, October 20th, that Muammar Gaddafi was assassinated by America. Muammar Gaddafi came into power in 1969, ruled for 42 years. From the very time that he first assumed office, there was rumblings all throughout the ruling class that America must control the oil in the Middle East. Gaddafi nationalized the oil. Gaddafi, like others, they say other African leaders signed their death warrant when they said that the rich resources of the land must serve the people.
Yeah, and that's very interesting that you say that, because every time somebody takes a position when it comes to the self-determination of their people, then they're met with a consequence or the force of the opposition.
It's a pattern, Lumumba and others, So also, through the lives and examples that these leaders led, we see the results, the beautiful results of our self-determination of when we control our natural resources, what it produces, and we identify, with our motherland and identify with the wealth of our motherland. This can put some fight in us, during Gaddafi's rule, as in the rule of other revolutionary leaders, there was great progress in the society. The literacy rate rose from 12% to 87%, the highest level standard of living on the continent, existed in Libya during the rule of Brother Gaddafi. he irrigated the land. In addition to irrigation, you understand, he took the salt out of the water, you understand, to feed the crops. You know, he established a African communication system. You know, he was on had a project to create an African currency backed by gold, 144 tons of gold in reserve in Libya. You know, and the West is very, very upset because this meant that they could no longer trade with dollars. You understand? In terms of the oil, in terms of oil, you know, in agreement with President Mugabe of Zimbabwe, Gaddafi, you know, and Brother Gaddafi and Brother Mugabe were putting together an idea of a unified one government for Africa. So these are some of the things that we love, and these are reasons why they moved against Gaddafi. They hated Gaddafi. You understand? When he first came into office, you know, there was plots on his life being hatched at that time, all throughout the years that he ruled. In 1986, they tried to assassinate him. They bombed his house. You understand? But they missed that time. You know, like I said, the rich resources of the land. In his case, in the case of Maurice Bishop, you know, the same thing: education, housing, employment, all that. Improvements in all areas when we control our natural resources, which tell us what we can do. You know, Gaddafi had, at one point, you know, there was a diplomacy was attempted, you know, and it allowed Western investors, you know, but the Western investors, they wanted too much. So Gaddafi reversed that and cut off some of the investors and, made better deals for Libya. Around the same time, you know, there was an outbreak of revolts in the eastern part of Libya, you know, and many of the people who were in revolt were some of the folks that America had organized, you know, the ones they call the ones they call the terrorists. Some of those were involved in it, you know, and a striking feature of that time was that many of the people who were killed in the revolt were black people. There was a great hatred of dark-skinned people among the opponents of Colonel Gaddafi, you know, of President Gaddafi. There was great hatred because Gaddafi, Brother Gaddafi, had funded every African liberation struggle. You know, Gaddafi had given employment. Libya is 1/3 black, and Gaddafi had given employment to many, many blacks in the nation. And the light skin, you understand, the light skinned Arabs, you know, hated this, you know, and they were murdering many, many black people, you know. And there was an organization called the National Transition Council, you know, and they were vying to take over control of the country. And they called in NATO to come in with airstrikes. NATO claimed that their mission was humanitarian, but history shows that it wasn't humanitarian. They said that their mission was to prevent, to create a no-fly zone to prevent the mass murder of civilians. However, these air forces, Italian, French, Portuguese, and U.S., you know, these forces, you know, their bombings, you understand, advanced the opposition and attacked Gaddafi's forces. Many, many civilians who supported Brother Gaddafi were murdered, you understand, and airstrikes on a column of armored vehicles, you know, by these planes and enabled Brother Gaddafi to be captured, you know, and as a result of his capture, he was assassinated. You know, they ran a lance into him and assassinated him. You know, and
it was on live on TV.
Yeah, yeah. And to show the real reason why they was involved in that, after the assassination, there's a scramble for the oil in Africa. In Britain, they say, pack up your suitcase right now and go to Libya to get some of that oil. France, Italy, and the U.S. All of these bloodsuckers, you know, they rushed and scrambled for the oil reserves in Libya. You know, so these are things that can make us love our friends, you understand, and have a disdain for our enemies, the same enemies that want to keep our political prisoners incarcerated forever.
Right, and like when I hear everything that you're saying, and I look at our brother, our comrade Sundiata Acoli, and I look at, you know, his participation in the Black Liberation Army, and then to see that he's still incarcerated, right, all these years, and 27 years consecutively, he had no disciplinary issues, right? So, and he's still incarcerated, right? And they want him to die in prison. So it's like they trying to humiliate people by letting us see that our heroes are incarcerated, and they're asking us the question, "What are you going to do about it?" Right? Just like Gaddafi, they let you see him being humiliated and killed. Right. So now it's like, okay, anybody who want to follow this path, you're going to have the same destiny, the same outcome. And I think that that's why when we talk about our martyrs and we talk about our political prisoners, we got to look at ourselves. What do they mean to us? Right? We keep telling the viewers about you know, they try to say that these people are not political prisoners, that they're terrorists, right? They try to say that these people are not martyrs, that they are terrorists, or they're a threat to national security. Whatever label that they try to put on our heroes, our freedom fighters, is something to discourage us from being involved in that activity. And I think that, you know, it's very important for us to use our platform to talk about our freedom fighters, to talk about our political prisoners, and then to talk about what we're going to do, right? If you're at a family function, talk about political prisoners. If you're at a school function, talk about political prisoners. Use every platform, use opportunities that come around your way to talk about them. See, I'm on a train, I have this hat, it says free all political prisoners. We just got a new free Imam Jamil. Right. Let me show the people that. Mm-hmm. So we just had this made.
I'll be wearing that in the masjid when I go.
Right. So the brother be wearing that at the masjid. It's just to let you know we have to be creative when we talk about political prisoners, and that's why we have this platform, and that's why we encourage others to view the material, share it, and internalize it. And if you have not yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. That's the YouTube channel titled N.E.P.P.C.
Right. And remember the context, the link that we're talking about. Remember that the one, like we said earlier, the enemy who murdered our martyrs are the ones who have murdered Black leaders here in America. Fred Hampton, okay, and brothers like that, who these folks have murdered. And another important lesson that we get out of this is being clear on friends and enemies. And being clear on friends and enemies, we understand those deplorable characteristics that we must purge from our being. For example, Brother Thomas Sankara, a great leader, a great charismatic leader in Africa, who rose through the ranks, you understand, became president of N.E.P.P.C. He was betrayed by his best friend. Imagine that. You understand? You know, in our culture, you know, these type of low life behaviors, you know, selling your mama for 15 cents, you know, snitching, you know, betrayal, being disloyal, you know, stealing, you know, lying, cheating, you understand, treason against your own people. You know, these are the type of things that we must shun. You know, we must burn these things out of our being, you know. Imagine that. His best friend, Thomas Sankara, Blaze, was his best friend, and he betrayed this brother and set him up for assassination. You understand? In compliance with the West. So we uphold these beautiful values, these revolutionary ideas, revolutionary thinking. So we talk about our martyrs. You understand? These are the things that we promote. And we talk about political prisoners. These are the things that we promote. And we say that our political prisoners need to be among us. You understand? To give this spirit to our people, this spirit of being strong, of not fearing nothing. And that's the way Muammar Gaddafi was. He didn't fear nothing, totally fearless. Muammar, I'm going to say, Che Guevara, a brother who didn't even know the meaning of danger. You understand?
And he was asthmatic.
Right. Didn't know the meaning of danger. Who participated with Fidel Castro in the revolution in Cuba. You understand? And brought about independence and the Congo. He went to the Congo. Also, Che had an idea of a global revolution everywhere. So these are the ideas that we think of. They wanted to kill these ideas, but we say, no, we're going to make these ideas live. We think about our martyrs. We think about our political prisoners and the need for this type of spirit to be among our people right now. This rebellion to stand up against the system that has atomic bombs. And they say they got the greatest military in the world, but they don't, because the American soldier, pound for pound, is the biggest coward on the face of this earth. So our political prisoners and the martyrs of the past give us the strength, you understand, to realize that this ain't no iron tiger, it's a paper tiger, and the idea of our numbers, of masses of our people, you understand, creating a strong force. This makes them shake. They cry at night, shaking in the bed. The idea of great numbers of our people creating a critical mass, you understand, to demand, what we got coming, to demand our rights, to identify with the stolen labor, that produce trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in wealth for this people. The rich resource was to identify with the motherland, to call that land our motherland, and we identify with it. They want us to say, I ain't no African. What Malcolm say? They say, yeah, I ain't no African. I ain't never done that. Malcolm say you left your mind in Africa. Right. To identify, you understand, with that. You understand? To identify with those who oppose all odds. You understand? Who were able, in spite of terrorism against these mass murderers, these white supremacist mass murderers, to stand up. You understand? And refuse to back down. You understand? That's who our martyrs was. And that's who we honor today, in the same sense that we honor our political prisoners.
And so as we honor our political prisoners, it's very important that we participate in ways to honor them by struggling to freedom. Mm-hmm. So what's coming up this month is the International Tribunal on U.S. human rights violation, October 22nd and 24th. You can go to spiritofmandela.org and register. Please spread the word, participate on whatever level that you're able to participate. It's very important that we take action now, because our political prisoners are suffering from a number of ailments, and time is not on their side. And we got to get involved. We got to get organized. We got to share this episode of N.E.P.P.C. Donate $10 a month, which is only $2.50 a week. Make that sacrifice. Write the political prisoner, and continue to get involved. And I think we discussed about everything.
I'm going to say a little something about armed struggle. We have a brother here also, Samara Michelle. One of his great contributions as president and as president of Mozambique, and entering that stage as president of Mozambique, Samar Machel was a great revolutionary leader, and he put the ideas, the thinking in the people of Mozambique, which produced a formidable military force. He was a great military leader, and here in America, many of our people, I don't want to, talk down on them, but a lot of our people are scared of revolution, So brothers like this are very, very valuable, you understand, in our study of history, you understand, to make us understand that we got to go be over here scared of nothing, That's where we got to be. Samara Machel, was one of our greatest military leaders, who was also assassinated by America when his plane was rerouted into a mountain, and crashed.
Well said. Very important that we take this information and we apply it to our everyday lives, that we take some action, and we we align ourselves with our political prisoners regarding their freedom. Our struggle is their struggle, right? We have to put this in the context of national liberation, national obligation, right? We see ourselves as part of a nation or of a nation, and we have to act in accordance with that. Mm-hmm. And that means freeing our political prisoners, doing what we need to do. As we always do, it's very important that we leave you with that very powerful and important message from our brother, Killer Mike, right? Because Killer Mike always talked about, that donating that $2.50 a day, which is only $10 a week, right? We can't play around with that. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Party, I want to talk about something.
I have to give the credit to this idea of Miss Kathy Hughes of Radio 1. She's like, Michael, it is time that you guys organize a fund to set aside to help people who sacrifice for our freedom. Meaning, every time something happens, I hear this. Why don't the gang bangers jump up and do something for it? Why don't you kill them? You kill each other. And I say to myself, when is the last time you sent money to a Saudi Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Matulu Shakur? When is the last time you sent money to Mamiya Abu Jamal or Larry Hoover or Jeff Ford or Leonard Pelter? When is the last time you have made it your business to send money to a revolutionary or a hoodlum that has helped us? And until we start to do that, how can we ask these young men to be warriors? Because if they do it in the name of the hood, at least the hood gonna honor their name always. At least the hood gonna make sure at least their children got something, or their mama's house is looked after. As a community, if we're going to ask people to bungee jump for us with no cord, be prepared to take care of them when they get a life sentence. Be prepared to look after their families. See, I don't mind the work getting done, but let's take care of the workers. Let's stop asking more out of people than we would do for ourselves. So what I'd like to see, my dream thing, is to see 1 million people from the culture dedicate $10 a month. That's $10 million a month.
Very important, powerful message. You see what the brother said?
Mm-hmm.
He said, why are we asking more from people than what are we willing to do for ourselves? And when those who are doing the work get captured or come across some hard times, what are we doing? Right? So he said that his vision is for 10 million people to donate $10 a month. So we're saying, like, well, let's start off with well, he said I think 1 million people donated $10 a month, which is $10 million. But I'm just saying, like, we have to do our own duty, our own responsibility, and we have to step up and accept the challenge. Yeah. So we wanted to just leave you with that. Yeah. If you got any closing words.
Yeah, right on. You know, the brother was saying was right on. You know, it's been said in the past that technology is a beautiful thing when it works. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the FBI, the CIA, which causes sometimes technology, you know, static and all, you know, all that, and pauses and all that type of stuff. But what I want to leave you with is to tell you about some shows that we have coming up in the future. In the future, we're going to be requesting that political prisoners send us statements to stop this killing each other in the street. You know, the brother Killer Mike, he mentioned Jeff Fort, Larry Hoover. You know, these are a couple of the people that we're going to be sending letters to, asking them, you know, to come with statements, you know, telling our brothers and sisters in the street, you know, love one another, stop killing one another, stop this madness. And indeed, our political prisoners, you know, being incarcerated 30, 40, and 50 years, you know, some of them have the equivalent of 5, 6, and 7 PhDs, you understand? And, you know, to share their knowledge and their wisdom with our folks in the street. And we believe, without a doubt, that we are going to stop the killing. You know, we're not sitting around here, you know, feeling all hopeless and helpless. There ain't nothing we can do about our situation. You know, that's what violence does to people. Violence inflicted on people by an oppressor makes the people feel hopeless and helpless, like there ain't nothing you can do about your situation to make things change. We say no. You know, we say, up you mighty race, you can accomplish what you will. So in the future, inshallah, we'll be we'll be reading statements from our political prisoners, you know, for us to stop killing each other. Black power.
Black power. All right, so we sound off the way we always do. What's the call?
Free them all.
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 What's the call?
Free them all.